welcome to the 2D podcast. My name is Ronan.
My name's Dave.
We're two kids who are looking to get into the animation industry.
Yeah, please hire us.
Alright, let's get right into it. So today I will not be working on pencil. Unfortunately, I will be working on Toon Boom on my Wacom tablet because my assignment requires it. And will you be working on pencil today, Dave?
Yes, I am working on pencil. I have to animate a shot, like a point of view shot. So it's basically like from your eyes walking up toward a door and then you open it.
Very interesting. Yeah, I have to animate three different objects, three different falling objects. I had to do some reference. Just dropping objects. I dropped several objects, although I also looked up some video references. Also, on a unrelated note, or kind of related, all the technical difficulties I was having the last episode, I found out the reason why I was having such a hard time. It's because I had a hard drive connected to my computer, and I think somewhere along the line I disconnected it. And it just messed up all the folder routing because it kind of works like Animate or Premiere would, in that it works with you can't change the location of certain folders, otherwise it would just mess up. And that was the problem that I was having. It just it didn't know where the folders were. So I found out that's why.
Dun-na, dun-na, dun, dun-na. It's like dramatic music happening.
Yeah, it's mystery solved.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know how you were doing, Dave. I'm sorry. I don't want to talk over you. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, when I said hire us, I thought of the movie Step Brothers. Remember that movie?
I have no idea what that is. Oh, wait, that's with Will Ferrell and the other guy?
Yeah, well, they're step brothers, but they're like 40 years old. Dude, I just want to real quick say, that reminds me of the scene where they were trying to get a job and they're at the interview and they're like, let's try to let's interview. Can we interview you? And the guy interviewing is like, okay, sure. That sounds okay. And then okay, I forget what they ask him, but they ask him really inappropriate questions. They're like, I forget. Oh my gosh, I forget. It's like, if you could kill your wife, would you do it? And he's like, get out.
Yeah, exactly. Talking about work, I don't know about you, Dave, but I'm pretty jaded. I work a job on campus that takes up 18 hours a week. I think I need to ask for less shifts. And it's not even I don't like the work. I actually do like the work. I work at the printing center at Pratt. It's just that it takes up too much time and also too much energy.
Yeah, I feel you with that because, I had a million jobs that were I think probably the most stressful one was working at the YMCA teaching kids how to swim. That was so stressful. It was they expect to have, the knowledge of someone who went to college and learned child psychology.
Yeah.
Just trying to make $7 an hour, and they're like, what, why doesn't he know how to swim yet? I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know how to swim. I really didn't. I didn't know the motions and the moves. I just kind of BS'd it.
Yeah, I took swimming lessons once when I was younger, but it's I don't know what they were thinking. I think it's it sounds like a job that requires a little bit more training.
Yeah.
BSing it, yeah. But this this kind of job that I have does require some knowledge. Knowledge that I didn't have at the moment. They really needed people to be there because ever since COVID, they were scrambling to find people, and I just so happened to be one of them. And it's not too difficult. It's not too technical. It's a pretty sizable learning curve. What I'm saying is that they set up this new system, and of course there's going to be a learning curve because it's a new system. Even seasoned professionals are baffled by what we're doing because they don't want there to be as much traffic in the computer labs. There, instead of actually having people sit down and using the computers and printing stuff out, which is how things used to go. Like, you just sit down, print stuff out, and then like the people in my position would just like hand them it. What they have to do now is that they send us their order online, and we have to print it out manually. We have to like assign it to the right printer. We have to make sure that it's like the printers have the right paper set up in them. We have to do all these other things along with actually giving them the prints. And it's like every day, like something new pops up where it's like, wait a second, that's not how it's supposed to work. And it's like, oh shoot, they wanted that double-sided. They want like, it's like covers everything from just like black and white letter size to like huge like 60-inch fine art prints.
Wow.
So you really need to know your stuff.
Yeah, I've seen. I was in the printing room like a year ago, and I feel like even then the jobs were hard for the people there. They just like, they had that look in their eyes where they're like, oh my gosh, like get me out of here. But oh, by the way, I didn't tell you about this before the podcast, but I do have something animation related to talk about, because last night I went to a drive-in film festival. It was like a horror film festival. It was held at a farm, and I went with some friends, and there was some animated horror films there, and I think there was about 2, and the first one I didn't really like. I think it was like a minute long, and it was like really dumb. I don't really want to say what it's about, just on the off chance that the person who made it's like listening.
Yeah.
It was about this, and he's like, wait a minute, that's mine. But it was just like, I don't know, it was like, yeah, I'm sorry about the stairs. It's really the stairs.
Stairs squeaking ASMR. Some like Zoom audio stair creaking pixelated audio ASMR for you guys.
Yeah, that's like my professor. His wife is like all the time. She's like talking like out loud. She's like, yeah, so I was thinking, like he's just trying to teach, and I can tell he's probably like, oh
my god.
he like ignores it, but she's like, what, all the time she's like behind him, getting stuff out of the cabinets, and she's on the phone like, yeah, so did you see that show last night? And I can see it in his face. He's like, oh my gosh. Get me back to Pratt. But anyway, this film was, I didn't feel like it was good. It was like a paper cutout, like South Park, but I think they purposefully made the paper cutout. It was digital, but they made the paper look like crumpled up and kind of crappy looking, and they had for the stars in the sky, they had really it looked like it was drawn by like a 6-year-old, like stars drawn in crayon on construction paper, and I don't know, but everyone else said that they liked it, so I don't. And then there was another film that was stop motion that was really, really good. It was about this guy who, I think he was like a piano player, and then something happened with his hands where they got really big, and he couldn't play the piano anymore, and it was like a drama. I wasn't even paying attention to it, but I just thought the animation was really good. But anyway, yeah, and then there was other films that were like really, really disturbing. People were like leaving.
Ugh.
Yeah.
So this was just a drive-in movie theater in the middle of Pennsylvania?
Yeah, well, it's not in the middle of Pennsylvania. It's like it's close to Philly, but like if you go a few miles outside of Philly, it's
like in the suburbs.
No, it's not really suburbs. It's kind of like there's a lot of farms outside of Philly. Like some areas are suburbs, but there's a lot of areas that are just farms and like fields.
That's interesting. Yeah, it's more like that feedback. Yeah, it's not the same over in New York. If you go over, several miles in any direction, you'll probably just see more city, or at least suburbs. It's not really much of a farm place, so that's why I said that. On the subject of animated films, New York hasn't opened up that much. I've not been able to actually like see film screenings, but I have been watching some online stuff. For my teacher's recommendation, I looked up The Thief and the Cobbler, animated by Richard Williams. It's there's like several versions online, but the one that I saw was this like the recobbled version. It's actually not a completed film. It was kind of scrapped like mid-production, and they scrapped together like the completed parts into a semi like, you know, understandable film. But like nevertheless, the animation that was completed is like superb. It's amazing. This recobbled version kind of like puts together certain scrapped parts, unfinished parts, and it just feels like a little more like a complete product.
That's cool. Yeah, I think the first time I heard about that was. Oh, you can probably hear my dog.
It's all right. Just go on ahead.
Yeah, he's annoying. Everybody in my house is kind of annoying. Well, they're not really annoying. They're just walking around. But I don't know. It annoys me. But yeah, the first time I heard about The Thief and the Cobbler, I think was probably when I was like 15. And I think I read about it in a world record book. I think it holds the world record for the longest production time.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, I took from like 1964 until 1994.
I didn't even know it was that long. Holy Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Richard Williams being interviewed, and it was like 1988 about Roger Rabbit, and he was like, "But my real magnum opus is The Thief and the Cop." Like that's, you know. I've been working on it for about 26 years, but like it's gonna come out soon.
You know, Richard Williams, he's an amazing animator, and he's probably well known in everyone's heart for publishing the Animator Survival Kit, which to this day is my Bible, and should be everyone's Bible for animation. But it you know, it's like. You really can't like, you know, that's not sustainable, that kind of like production cycle, unless you have like an entire like, I don't know, it just doesn't really like 30 years for a film. But like, yeah, it just doesn't work. It could have been like the best movie, like, you know, ever if it actually had like proper. And was it just him that was working on it?
No, he had other people. I think like he was the director, but you know, he had a bunch of other people working on it. But I think that at some point they hired other people to direct it, and then like they directed some scenes, and then one of the voice actors, I think some of the voice actors died before.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like it's really kind of cobbled together because it's just like so much work from so much time, like 30 years. So like any finished version would probably necessarily be cobbled together.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's like, yeah, that's a good point. You know, when in a film's production does just things like, you know, kind of fall apart.
Yeah.
And I think yeah.
The interesting thing is like about animation, you could never be able to do that with a live action film.
Oh, of course, yeah. Of course.
Like if you were doing a live action film for like 2 years, a lot of the people, like if you had kids in it, they would look completely different.
Yeah, you're totally right, yeah.
Yeah. So that's cool about animation. Spend 30 years on a film. I don't know.
I feel like I'm gonna like spend like 30 years trying to get this application open.
Yeah.
And that's right. I have not even gotten Toon Boom open yet. This to be like another like debacle, like, you know, Ronan tries opening Toon Boom again. Yeah, so I think it's best if we move on to other topics. You sent me a film that you did for for your video editing class that I found to be downright hilarious. It was I don't think we can actually like give links to it because it has like copyrighted material. It just like, the
music that's actually not copyrighted. It's from Ren and Stimpy, but it's not copyrighted. Ren and Stimpy, they used it, and it was like stock music that they chose because it was in the public domain. So
okay, that's interesting. Yeah. Well, I can't show mine because it does have copyrighted music.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why we're talking about it. So
well, you could show your like. As long as you're not selling it, like if you're just going to show it to people for free, then you could definitely put a link in and be like, check this out.
Is that true?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Only if you're trying to profit off of it.
I guess if I do give fair credit, I don't know. It's not even exactly complete yet, so I don't know if it's going to be ready anytime soon. Regardless.
Yeah, when does it due?
Well, I already submitted it. It's just that. Well, this brings me to another topic. So right now, I literally spent another reason why this job is stressing me out is because I forgot my stylus on campus last Wednesday and was not able to get it back till Saturday. So during that time, I had to complete this project without a stylus. And that meant drawing most of the animation because it was animation. Yours was just purely live action. Mine was animation on top of still images.
I can't believe you would. Oh, sorry, that's my computer.
That's all right.
Sorry, but I can't believe you would have done animation. That's like, I would have never been that ambitious to
I was just thinking to myself, if I just had one night, which I did. Which I only had one night. If I just had one night to just sit down and draw a good 2.5 minute worth of drawings, because it was I calculated in my head, it was only 18 shots that I had in the entire film, the very short film. And if I just did 2 or 3 drawings per scene, are you shifting stuff around on your desk?
Yeah.
Okay, that's all right. You just try to keep stuff still. If I had only 2 or 3 drawings done, and if I get it done in a time span of 3 to 5 hours, then I can get it done and I can have a nice quality film to show. Yeah. However, I didn't have my stylus with me. Like I said, I forgot it at work. Fortunately, it was in the same place I left it. When I found it, and I was like, oh god. So I spent a good hour just twiddling my thumbs until I was like, you know what, I'm not giving up. And I just drank some coffee, sat myself down, put on my heavy metal playlist, and I just crammed through it. I think I actually left it a little bit unfinished. And then I had to go to bed because it was literally 12 o'clock at night. I went to bed, woke up at around 7, I think, and then went right back on it, drank another cup of coffee, finished it up, put some finishing touches on it. It was still a little bit unfinished because there were some shots where I left out some drawings, but I made sure that everything was narratively speaking, cohesive, and that was it. That was my project. And it was still frustrating, but yeah, what you were going to say?
Sorry. I'm sorry, but that reminds me, since you're talking about your job and this, you have to do this too. That reminds me, I did, in junior year, I had health class, and we had to do a health video, and I wanted to animate mine because I lived an hour away from school, and I didn't really know anyone in the class because everyone in the class was sophomores because I took art sophomore year, so I had to take health junior year. So I went to the professor. I went to the teacher and was like, "Can I just animate my video?" And he's like, "If you want to." And so basically, that was the hardest I've ever worked on anything because I saved it until the last, like, 2 weeks to, like, finish it. And I was like, oh, crap, because we had, like, a month. And I was like, oh, crap, I got to get working on it. And I was, like, animating furiously. And this was just a real quick, like, pencil. I was, like, photographing it in stop motion apps and putting sound to it. So I had stacks of drawings, like, the night before it was due. Actually, no, it was due. And I was like, can I have an extra day? And he's like, sure. And I told him, like, I've been working on it really hard for the whole month. And he's like, oh, yeah, I bet. Animation's hard. And so I, like, lied to him. I was like, yeah, I've been working on it for a long time. Oh, no, I told him I've been working on it for 6 weeks.
Okay.
And so he's like, yeah, you can have an extra day. So I didn't photograph any of the drawings at all. And I had work that night. I had to work at the YMCA, and I got back at, like, 9 o'clock at night, and I was really tired, and I was like, you know what? I just got to go down and, like, get this done. And drank, like, 3 cups of coffee, and I was down there until... And I remember I was still working on animation the day before it was due, and I was animating this one scene. It was like some kid was choking, and this old woman yelled like, somebody give him the thrust! And, yeah, and...
that's what they call CPR down there in Pennsylvania? The thrust?
No, I just said that.
Okay.
And my friend, I was animating it at lunch. I was, like, working on it the entire day. And my friend was like, wouldn't it be funny if you animated her with, like, really saggy boobs? And I was like, yeah, that would be totally funny. And I did that. And then I spent hours and hours at night photographing all the drawings, mixing the sound and everything. And then I went to bed, and at like 4 a.m, I just woke up, and I was like, dude, I'm going to have to show this to the class tomorrow. I was like, dude, there's scenes. I animated my teacher in one of the videos where he faints. And so you know what your sternum is?
Yeah, of course, yeah. I'm taking anatomy.
So I didn't know what that meant. It sounded funny. And when somebody faints, you're supposed to rub their sternum to, like, wake them up.
Okay.
Because apparently that hurts or whatever. So I had him pass out, and some kid in the class was like, somebody rub his sternum. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then I cut out a picture of Kim Jong-un.
What?
And he was the one who saved my teacher. And
this sounds like an episode of South Park. It's like, what is going on?
I know. And so I woke up at 4 o'clock, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to show this. And I'm like, dude, everybody's going to, like, nobody knew me in the class. And, like, everybody's going to think I'm a loser. Like, no one's going to laugh. And the teacher's probably going to give me a bad grade because it's all, like, screwed up stuff. And so I show it, and actually everybody loves it. Oh. And they gave me, like, a standing ovation. And they're like, play it again. And guess what? He showed it in, like, all of the other classes because that's what he does with some of the videos. He showed it to every other class.
Wow.
And they all said, like, I think one class played it 4 times.
Wow, that's so funny. They must have thought it was really funny. That's so cool. It's like, that's a way to get your ego pumping, I guess.
Yeah, dude, I got such a big ego after that because even kids in my grade who didn't have health that year were like, yo, Dave, I heard that you had a really great film. Like, everyone in school was talking about it. And I was like, oh, I'm the best person ever.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, it's like when you put, even when you put so much work into something, you still have that, like, will people like this or not? You still have that, like, that fear. And, when people, when people accept it, you feel great. When people reject it, you feel terrible. But, when people, like, are, like, I don't know, are, like, in the middle about it, it's like, it's not even, like, honestly, I think that could be, like, the worst feeling for some people.
The worst.
It's like, if people hate it, at least people got a reaction out of it, and some people can feel good about that. But if, like, people are like, what the heck? It's like, no.
It's not good.
Not good.
And the thing was, though, that one of the worst things is that like I had nowhere to hide with this. I wasn't even thinking about this when I made the film. I was just like, oh, I'm gonna do something that's stupid, and like I didn't think that like when you make something it wasn't even educational. It was just trying to be funny, and it was like everything in it was not really about the topic. It was just trying to be funny, and I'm thinking to myself that morning, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, you realize that if like nobody laughs at this, I have nowhere to hide. I can't hide behind. I can't hide behind. I was trying to be funny, but still, I'm on topic. It's like it was completely off topic, and if I'm gonna be sitting in class and nobody's gonna be laughing, and it's gonna be the worst day of my life. But it turned out great, so. That was good.
Well, you put yourself out there, you took a risk, and it paid off. That's what matters.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and I had a scene, one of the parts where most people laughed was when this guy he was trying to shave, and he accidentally cut off his nose.
How do you do that?
Well, he had a huge knife and a huge nose. And
Bro.
He just cut his nose and was like, oh! And but it was like remove any debris from the wound before you dress it, and it was like a close up of his nose and a cutout of Miley Cyrus's face with like debris and an arrow pointing at her face, and then he just flicked it off of his nose.
Okay, that's pretty random. That's like a 21st century like humor moment where it's like you mesh together these very like. I don't know, otherwise obscure, like, I don't know, it's just like, you just like, have these like crackhead like associations, and it just somehow formulates in humor. Like, it's Miley Cyrus, and it's like, in the back of your head, you just like think of like, oh, Miley Cyrus, you just think of like the Hannah Montana, but then you think of like, the VMA like twerk on that guy who I can't remember was, and then you just remember like all the craziness about her, you remember like the wrecking ball, like I can't even like it's like so back there. It's like the wrecking ball moment where she's like on the wrecking ball, but she's also naked.
Yeah,
and that's like and then like you're like you don't know what to think, and you just end up laughing.
yeah, and I think that. The ending, I had the way it ended, I thought was funny because the first of all, the last part was the Heimlich maneuver.
Okay.
And I had these two kids, and the one kid was like eating food and he started choking, and the other kid walked up and was like, "Sir, can I help you?" Sir, like so with a Heimlich, you're supposed to ask the person if they're choking, and like I always thought that was funny because it's like what like. Of course you're choking. So he goes up.
Yeah, the thing is, it's like, if they say yes, then they're actually not choking. Because if you were choking, you would not be able to respond.
Yeah, so he goes up and he's like, "Sir, are you choking? Can I help you?" And it cuts to him, X's on his eyes, and he's like, "Are you choking?"
Yeah.
And he has this, and so then he's like, "I'll just have to do it without his permission." And he just gives him the Heimlich and he lives. And at the end, they're like celebrating, but then they get hit by a bus.
What?
It says, "Always remember to move choking victim out of the street before you do that."
It's like, "Sir, are you choking? Are you choking? Answer me, damn it!"
Yeah, dude, that'd be funny if we made a film like that.
That would be the most bizarre. I think I told you this before. Well, if I haven't told you this. If I haven't said it on the podcast yet, well, I don't know. I'll say it in a second. But what you're saying about like this film that you put like so much effort into, I think I've had moments like that. I don't know, a little bit more high stress and like a little bit less like I don't know. I guess a little bit less fulfilling even. But
well, you've been in film festivals, right?
That's true. I have. That's true. I don't know. I've been like, I wasn't always in like the spotlight per se. I was just like kind of like part of the procession, and I enjoy the attention that I did get. I don't know. It wasn't like a classroom full of like cheering people saying, play it again, type of thing. That honestly sounds like a little bit more like up my alley. But I was going to say it's like, it's kind of a paradox because like the reason why I'm working this job is so I can like, financially, support myself. So where like, I can buy like certain materials, like, I can buy myself a Cintiq, I don't have to worry about money. I don't want to have to ask my parents for it anymore. So I can just support myself and my creative endeavors. But at the same time, it's kind of taking away from it, taking a lot more time and energy away from it. I do. It is like something I'm gonna have to, grow up and eventually like have to accept, which I think I'm kind of in the process of doing.
Well, that's why you're at Pratt, so you can eventually get a job working in animation.
True. That is true. I don't know. It's like, if you like go around enough talking to people, even in the industry, you realize that it's not as necessary. Honestly, a college education when getting into the animation industry, it is important, even just in and outside, but it's not essential. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think when you go to college, you do get like, I think one of the primary benefits of going to college is making the connections.
True. Like that is true. Like, like the connection we have right here,
Yeah. And like, and the professors, like, people who work in the industry,
Yeah, you do have a point there. But it's always like, they couldn't care less about what school you go to. They care about your portfolio, which you could develop in or outside. It's like, the time I put into Pratt, the time I put into work and even at class, I feel like is in a way kind of taking away from it, unfortunately. Like I just said, the film, I wasn't really able to complete it all the way because of my job. So, I don't know. And, and you're still expected... Your body still expects you to like sleep 8 hours a day, and you really can't like function without it. Like you can like pump yourself with as much like caffeine or whatever into your system to like compensate, but it just doesn't matter. Like you still need 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah, and I feel like if people are listening to this who go to college or whatever in high school or even grade school, and they have a job, and it's like, the thing about
like grade school, like you're like in 5th grade and you work in the coal mines.
Well, yeah, I guess you wouldn't have a job. I know some people had jobs in 8th grade though, but
yeah.
But the thing is, like, I remember when like my first job. I've had a million jobs, but my first job, it was like almost depressing because I wanted to like be in animation and I wanted to progress that way.
Yeah.
And then your job, it's like you're so involved. You go to all these meetings and stuff, and it's like dishwashing or swim instructing, and it's kind of like, I remember we went to like a weekend long swim instructor meet, like, I don't even know, like conference, and we had to go. And I'm just sitting there in the conference room like, oh my gosh, like what am I doing here? Am I going to end up being a swim instructor for the rest of my life? So I feel like, like if you're listening to this and you're kind of bummed out with your job, there's other people who are, in your same boat.
Yeah. I guess that is a good point. It's funny because you hear about like all these like prestigious animation schools. Well, you hear about this single animation school, like the Cal Arts, needless to say. But then again, it's like, I feel like it's like almost discriminatory to the point where it's like, it's very elitist. I'm never mind discriminatory. I'd say elitist because there are certain people who have access to like time and resources to put into their craft, to put into their like, to their like animation, to their drawing, and even like they can even like nitpick certain things where it's like, oh, they like this kind of stuff more, I can give them this stuff because I have the time and resources. But then there are people like us who are like, either like have way too much time to dedicate to school, work, or just other like outside resources, and or outside like plugs, and just don't have like are just not able to like put in that same time that other people do, and it just and I'm not saying that CalArts is more like you have to get into CalArts to get into the animation industry. You don't. It's just more of like it's like an easy plug-in. It's a much easier path.
It's in California.
It's in California, and yeah.
But Pratt, but you could also say that kind of about Pratt too, because there's a lot of animation companies in New York.
That is true. That is true. Yeah.
But then at the same time, there's other schools like I guess like Ringling and RISD, which are good too, and they're not. I don't even think they're around. I think Ringling's in Florida or something.
Yeah, it is in Florida.
Yeah, but I feel like maybe Ringling and RISD are examples of you don't need to be right where everything is. It's easier to be where everything is, but you can still break into the industry even if you go to a school that's not like right where it's at.
You are right. There are like it's not like a single. It's not just a single kind of. It's not one road you go to, but honestly, like when you look at the numbers, like the people who make these shows that grow into like $1 million like franchises, really, like they come from CalArts. So it's like I don't want to say that it's like I don't want to say the system is rigged, but I do kind of want to say, yeah, the system is kind of rigged. It's just unfair. It's not really built for like to accommodate. But I don't know. I don't want to like. I'm lucky enough as is. I don't mean to be like I don't mean to be like spurting that kind of talk.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know. I didn't even think about that, but I feel like I think in some respects you kind of have to go where it's at. Like, even if you didn't go to CalArts, you'd probably have a better chance of like working at Nickelodeon or whatever if you moved to California.
Exactly.
Maybe since coronavirus,
there are more remote opportunities.
Online.
There might be some more remote opportunities. That's something I don't know. I should look into that, and I guess I encourage everyone else who's listening.
No, don't encourage them. We want them.
Yeah. Wait, sorry, never mind. Forget about it. Don't do it.
Apply.
Don't go to California. It's on fire. Okay.
Yeah. And don't apply to any internships. Don't apply to any animation places. Don't try to get your animation on TV. Do not do that. Don't do that.
Okay, this is actually not us saying it, but yeah, don't do it.
Do not do that. We don't want to. We want to do that.
Quality content, guys. Quality content.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, I have to ask for less shifts. Is what I'm essentially saying on my job.
Yeah. But anyway, I think we were going to talk about the film I made, like the
Waffle Thief. The Waffle Thief.
Yeah. The Waffle Thief.
Your film is a lot lighter than my film. my film, it's like literally like in a dystopian version of the city where like huge alien spacecrafts are like taking over.
That's not good.
It's honestly also like a little bit abstract because I wasn't actually able to like film like the city. It's also like a little bit. It's also a little bit weird because I'm on the roof and like I'm relatively unaffected, and also I just like go back home, wash the dishes, and go to bed.
Yeah.
I just kind of like.
Wait, are you in it?
I'm not really in it. There's a character that represents me, that's in it, but it's not like it's not really me. It's just like another 6-foot white kid, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess the reason mine is oh my gosh, my dog needs to shut up. Shut up. He's 10 this year. Hopefully he won't be 11. No,
oh my god.
He's a small dog, so apparently they live for 18 years.
They live longer?
What?
They live longer than larger dogs?
Yeah, he can
Really?
live for like 18 or 15 or 18 years or something.
What's that in dog years? That's like that's actually really long. That's like over 100 years.
Yeah. But anyway, I guess my film is a lot lighter than yours, and I feel like my class we did kind of a more lighter films. This one girl, I think she might do, like, there's a lot of people who do films about like coronavirus and quarantine, which I totally understand. That's, that might be historic.
It is historic. It's like
they'll find that and be like, wow.
Yeah.
I just did a film about, like, she didn't give us that much time to come up with an idea, so I remember being like, I had a lot of work. She gave us 2 days to come up with it, and on like Wednesday I had a lot of work to do, and then Thursday morning I had her class in the afternoon. I was like, dude, I gotta come up with an idea, like, and I was asleep in my bed, and I was like, oh my gosh, like tossing and turning, and I remember I was eating like toaster waffles, and I was thinking, well, what if like there was somebody who like stole waffles, and then I just real quick storyboarded it and sent it to her, and she said it was a good idea. So it was really fun to film. It's basically like my one friend plays a thief, and he steals this guy's waffles, and the guy chases the thief through the town, and they go into the thief's lair, which is like an abandoned house, which we did not actually go in, although my professor actually asked me, like, did you go in? There's, that scene where it's like a wall that's half ripped off?
Oh, yeah.
That's actually my bathroom, that they were redoing it, and it's been like that for like 5 months. So, don't know when it's going to be redone. Probably for not anytime soon, but I took advantage of that, and so basically the ending is that this guy has like a stash of waffles in this abandoned house, and he's selling them on the dark web. Yeah. And then the guy's like, "Good Lord!" And the thief is like,
"Why did you make the guy Irish? I didn't get that part."
Well, my friend, his name's Paul. He was in all of our high school plays, and he does really good accents. Yeah. So I just thought it'd be funny if he did like a "Can't wait to get me waffles." Like,
okay, that's not Irish. That's something else.
I know.
Can't wait to get me waffles. That's more Irish. That sounded more like a Northern English, but I don't mean to be like an accent purist. I'm really not.
I don't even know what kind of accent. I just said, he just started doing it, and I said, yeah, do that.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like when we got into town, and I was like, I was ready to like, they blocked off the roads to have outdoor dining. Mm-hmm. And I was like, we got to run through, like, I wanted them to run through the tables with like actual people eating at them. And they were like, no, I don't want to do that. That's like embarrassing. So, we just had like this scene where they were just kind of walking fast.
Yeah, I remember that was like I don't know, like it felt like the most awkward scene.
Yeah, yeah, because it was awkward. And then the scene where he runs into me. Remember that scene?
Yeah, you cut and it's like you also appear like several scenes later as a news reporter.
Yeah, yeah, but that first one where he ran into me. There's a 7-Eleven across from that, and there was, like, a bunch of guys who always hang out at the 7-Eleven, and they were, like, laughing at us. Like, oh, that's a college town.
We're making art. Don't judge us.
And my friends were like, see, I wasn't embarrassed at all, really, because I was just holding the camera. Except for that part, I was kind of embarrassed. And he ran into me, and I fell over, and they were all like, oh! And they're like, let's get out of here. And I was like, no, we got to do it again. I didn't fall right, and so we had to do it again.
Well, it's just what we have to do. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Yeah. What's annoying about life at Pratt right now is that we can't properly access. Well, we have to like make time slots for ourselves and actually to to use the Pratt facilities, and it's like the way that we do it is that we have to use this calendar that they sent. But this calendar that they sent, I don't have access to. So like I literally can't get on campus right now because of this.
Wow.
Yeah, so that is what it is, I guess.
You can't even get onto campus?
I don't know. I can do it, I guess, kind of like, in a sus way, but I can't actually like, I need to do something before I actually do it is what I'm saying. And it's just extremely annoying.
That's like, I hear there's like guards there and they're like checking you and everything before you go in.
It is very annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very annoying.
I don't know. I mean, like, I think, like, I would expect, like, when, like, a few months ago when they were going to open up stuff, I was kind of expecting everywhere I went there would be people who are, like, taking your temperature and, like, fill out a survey,
You were expecting, this kind of, like, quarantine, like, you were expecting, like, something straight out of, like, a sci-fi movie?
Yeah, kind of.
That's what you expect. Because I think there's, like, this kind of, like, media expectation about it. But it's, like, what the heck are we doing? Like, there isn't, like, there's barely any, like, regulation to begin with. I don't mean to get political, but it's, like, it just isn't there. Yeah, that's not what we expect.
I mean, the only place they gave me a questionnaire was the dentist. And, other than that, I mean, like, I don't know. I guess I don't go a lot of places. I go to, like, the parks, like, those abandoned houses that's right next to, like, a park I walk around in.
Yeah.
And, I mean, like, a lot of the places I go are not really too... I mean, they're, like, parks. They're not regulated at all, really. And then we, like, walk around town, and, dude, there's like, in town, I don't even know if I should say the name of the town, but, it's outside of Philly, and I've never seen as many people in town as I have. It's like a party town. It's like a college town.
Eesh.
And since they moved everything outside, there's like bands outside, and they're like, yeah. And there's only one place that doesn't have outdoor dining, and they're like packed in there. We walked by it the other. There's always cops down there, and like there's always drunk people like fighting with the cops. And I remember like one guy who worked there was like, just walk away, and he was like, oh, and I think he was underage. He might have been like a teenager, and he had his teenage friends, and they're like, we're gonna get you, and he's like, walk away, buddy. And then the cops came and they ran away. So
yep,
I don't know.
That's kind of how it goes.
Yeah.
I feel like things are kind of livening up more around Brooklyn, certainly around Fort Greene, where I have to walk to Pratt. I have to walk through that to get into Pratt, and there's like this whole like block. I mean, I honestly don't know what to think. I'm not going to be surprised. They say that there's going to be this vaccine coming within like by the end of October. I don't know. I'm not going to hold my breath, but I don't know. I'm honestly like wouldn't be that surprised if it just like kind of falls down on us again.
What do you mean?
I mean, like if everything like shuts down again is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what happened in the 1918 flu pandemic. They shut everything down like 3 times.
Really? I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Yeah, and they it was like how it is now, kind of. I mean, like everyone was wearing masks and stuff. Did you know that?
I didn't know that they shut it down that many times. I didn't even think that they shut anything down to begin with.
No, that was really bad. That flu actually, like this virus.
It's like you are right. It's like mild in comparison, but
yeah, that flu that killed people who were like young and healthy. I think 5 million people died, and
that was like what, like a quarter of the world's population. It was a lot of people.
Yeah.
All these people coming back from World War One, and they brought back the flu with them, and that killed a lot of people. And it wasn't even. I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, and then they come back, and after the flu, they're like, "We're banning alcohol."
Yeah.
they come back from World War One, and they're like, first of all, it's like, "Where's your mask?" And they're like, "What?" put on a mask, and like everyone's dying.
Like everyone, like, oh, I need a drink. Get that out of here.
Yeah, and then that was for like 13 years. That was
true. That was a bizarre thing. Like, I think about that. It was during the progressive era. It was during like a lot of like changes. In it was like the women got their vote. I don't know. It was like also like a lot of messed up things happening. Now that I think about it, but it was during like a lot of progressive style legislation, and that was just an outlier. And it was like, in like retrospect, it's like, what the hell were they thinking?
Yeah,
like banning alcohol. I think it was like some fundamentalist thing where it's like, like alcohol was believed to be like the source of a lot of problems, like like domestic abuse, worker productivity, so it was like, it was very fundamentalist. There was like, Woodrow Wilson like was backed up by like these like, what were they called? Like I can't even remember what they were called.
Oh yeah, teetotalers?
No, it was not.
I think that's someone who just doesn't drink. No, I think it. Yeah,
teetotalers. I'm sorry. What are they called again?
Teetotalers. I think that's a person who doesn't drink.
I think I can't remember what, but basically like people who just wanted to ban alcohol, and
that was like a mother's. It was kind of the same deal as the ad Mothers Against Drunk Driving or something.
Yeah,
where it was just people who were like, "This is causing a problem. We got to ban." But then they banned it, and it was like people drank alcohol more, and more people got.
Yeah, and it's like all these like organized crime factions started bootlegging it, and it was just crazy.
Yeah, so that was a crazy time. Like, this is a crazy time, but back then, I mean, at least we're not in a war. I don't think
we're like kind of like in a proxy war with like freaking. Have you heard about the TikTok ban?
I heard about that, but I don't think they banned it.
Well, no, they did. They did.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
Oh. I don't do TikTok, so I don't know.
It's basically like, no, they're they're disabling like all like the chat features. They're like you can't like after like a certain date you can't actually make a new account. And they're like gutting it. They're gutting the whole thing.
Wow.
And it's like, I don't know. It's basically like, I mean, the reason why they're doing it, it's because freaking like, it just so happens to be a Chinese owned company, and the president doesn't like that, and they're just pulling the plug on it. So I don't mean to be ending this on a kind of a political note, but you have to go now, Dave.
Yeah, basically. But
right.
I just want to say, it's funny because there's like two types of people. There's like you kind of remind me of my he was really nice. You remember Derek from last year?
No, actually, I don't. Derek?
Oh, you might have not had him. He's Space Form Process.
No, I had someone else.
Well, he was a really nice guy, and like there's some people who are like not to get political or anything, and then there's other people who are like, "Let you see here, screw you." But
I have my very strong opinions, but I don't want to impose on anyone because I just don't, because that's just not right. Like I don't know where other people have been.
When you're, it's kind of like, I don't know, like there's some professors. Actually, I liked most of my professors. I liked them all actually, but there were some who were like really political, and some people would get in like fights. And like Derek, the only political thing he said was we were going over the golden section, like the golden ratio.
Yeah.
And he's like, I hear there's a picture of the golden ratio over Donald Trump's hair, but not to get political.
Yeah, I would. If I'm inspired, I'll probably make like some oft political reference. But I'm like the not to get political guy, but I can't help getting political sometimes. Yeah. That's me.
Well, yeah, that's everybody. But I feel like if you're gonna have a political discussion, you should probably, not be so in your face, because that's not gonna convince the other person.
Yeah, I Totally agree with you on that. All right, so this ends the 2D political podcast. Please be sure. Yeah, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and do all that jazz to make sure the algorithm recognizes us. And you have a nice and safe day.
Wait, I want to say one more thing.
Okay, sure, go on ahead.
Right. The political podcast, most of the political stuff we talked about was like from 1920.
Yeah,
I could see some old man emailing us like, FDR was the best.
Yeah.
Or whoever was president then.
He's not. That was Woodrow Wilson. Anyways, yeah, like you see, we're not the best people to talk about that kind of stuff, if you can't tell already. All right, so the outro music should be started playing. Like I said, do all that jazz to make sure we're recognized by the algorithm, and you have a nice, safe day.
All right.